Hello, welcome back to Tech Type Podcasts, episode 14. My name is Simeon.
Hey, it's Ben.
And I'm Dale.
So, I don't know if you guys heard at the start of this month, the new Nvidia RTX 30 series were announced. What do you guys reckon about them?
They look huge.
Yeah, they're
Both
very
physically
big.
and in specs.
Physically and in specs.
Yeah.
These are enormous cards.
Yeah, and they're putting down some pretty beefy performance. So, these are the 30 series, and they're based on the 8 nanometer Samsung technology. So, it's basically the 10 nanometer. There's a little bit of performance gain, but not really. They're not quite down to the 7 nanometer yet. But yeah, I mean, what does this mean for the sort of landscape of graphics card performance?
Ooh, the landscape. Well, what? They are by far the most powerful cards now.
Mm-hmm.
AMD hasn't got anything competing right now, have they? 24 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
24.
It's quite a lot.
That's more than in my entire computer. That is more. That video RAM is more than just RAM I have. That's insane.
Do you think it's needed?
Needed? Mate, look, I plan on gaming at 8K, 60 FPS. That's what I need it for.
Yeah, so that's the top end. So there's 3 cards announced. There's the 3090, the 3080, and the 3070. So the release date for them is a little bit strange. They're releasing their sort of 3080, which is the top end consumer, first. That'll be coming out on September 17th. And just after that is the top end, the 3090 on September the 24th. And then late October, they're releasing the 3070, which is their sort of mid-tier, low-tier. Depends how you look at it, I guess. There's rumours of a 3060, the same as the 2060 cards, but that's later down the track. So 8K gaming, is that... Do you think that's needed, Ben, or is that just way too into the future?
I think it's good future-proofing. If you look at the life cycle of an average card, obviously the past few years have been really good, with the 20 series only just reasonably recently coming out. But, some of these cards will have a life cycle of, about 3 years, give or take. So yeah, who knows what specs we could be running in 3-4 years' time. 8K gaming may be the standard.
Yeah,
it's a possibility. I think it's really interesting to see how these cards are competing in the industry. Like Dale said, they're not really competing against AMD because AMD doesn't really have a leg to stand on anymore. They're actually competing with consoles. So they're competing with Xbox and they're competing with PlayStation. I think it was Linus Tech Tips put this really well. They're competing in that space. They're trying to get gamers who are kind of on the fence about maybe buying a PlayStation or an Xbox, totally sticking with console gaming. And you can see this in kind of the price specs. The 3070, which is according to the allegations, what Nvidia's put out so far, will actually be more powerful than the 2080 Ti. And that's at a $500 US price range. That's quite competitive.
Yeah, so they're saying that the 3080, which is the update from the 2080, is over double performance, and same with the 3090, which is competing against the 2080 Ti.
No, it's competing with the Titan.
Is it? So are they not bringing out a Titan?
Right there,
no, not that I'm aware of. I'm pretty sure that 3090 is a Titan.
Okay, so are they going to bring out a 2080 Ti then? Or a 2080 Super or something?
Yeah, they'll probably bring out
that'd be later.
something in between.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. Okay, right. So I mean, they're not competing. They don't have any graphics cards in any gaming consoles. Do you think that's what will keep AMD afloat now? Is the consoles like you were saying before, or do you think that AMD is just slowly gonna slip and slip?
Uh, I mean, I see this as you've got like these are premium graphics cards, right? You're not spending $1,500 on on something so that you can 8K game, just on the fly. That is, you're either very rich or you've made a well, yeah, no, you got to be really rich. the I don't know. I see AMD as the sort of regular consumer competition. AMD is making, mid-range graphics cards. I think $500 would be in the upper end of AMD at that point.
Yeah.
Their lineup. Like obviously this isn't the lowest that Nvidia will go. What is it? The 3060 will probably be like the 2070 or 2080 repackaged.
Yeah,
Basically.
yeah. So that's sort of lower end
for a
stuff.
bit less, but yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think even the 3080. That's a very expensive card. That's what about 1,300 Australian, maybe
Yeah, so
1,500 if we get screwed on the pricing.
If it's a direct comparison, it's coming in at about 950, 960. But there'll be some taxes in there, I'm sure, that will push it over the $1,000 mark.
I don't see how that's gonna. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't see how that's gonna compete in the console space either. That's about the price of an entire, PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
They're meant to go for about 700.
Mm.
That's I don't know. I see this as very premium stuff, but that's Nvidia. They need to show off.
So I mean, obviously, each brand, Asus, Gigabyte, all these manufacturers who will get these chips and make these lovely cards themselves will be a bit different. But what do you guys think about the sort of Founders Edition look? They've sort of changed from that blower style, or when they had the 20 series, they had the two big fans on the front. Do you think it's a nice look now that they've moved towards?
I think it looks pretty clean. I like it.
So for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's sort of basically a GPU, if you can picture that, with a big plastic shroud going all over it, and then a fan on either side opposite each other, so diagonal across, pulling and pushing air from both directions. But you a fan of it, Ben, or not really?
I'm quite a fan of it. I think it's going to look very, very good in a lot of systems, but it's also going to not look great in some others. Mm-hmm. It's a big card. It is a big card physically. There's a few good photos out there comparing it to the previous gen, the 2080, and it is a substantial size increase. And I believe it takes
50%
up bigger,
isn't it?
I believe it takes up 3 slots as well.
Yeah, so that's that slots in your like populatable slots in the back of your case. Yeah, it's big. It's definitely
and it's
a big
got
card.
3 DisplayPort and 1 HDMI 2.1 for I/O.
Yeah, wow. Okay, they're pushing display hard.
No Type C.
You need display. You need display for those big 8K displays.
Did you say no Type C then?
No Type C.
No Type C.
Do you think that's a bit of a pushback from the industry, or is that just don't really need it at the moment?
That's kind of par for the course, isn't it? There's a few monitors you can get with USB-C, but as a standard, I would say that DisplayPort's the go-to, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not going to fit in a lot of cases. Well, smaller cases anyway. The 20 series, especially if you got some of those ones Asus did that the triple fans were beginning to not fit in some cases. This is definitely not. Is that going to be a problem, do you reckon?
This is water cooling territory now. This is where you'll really benefit from water cooling. The card can be at least half its size, probably a third, with the water block.
Yeah, once you take all that sort of heat sink off and
I think that's where a lot of your small form factor cases will benefit. Yeah, it's something that's going to have to be taken into account, I guess, because it's a big card.
Yeah, some of those compact builds might be changing to not so compact. But yeah, so do we have any idea? So those release dates we're talking about before are the actual launch date for the Founders Edition cards. Do we have any idea of when you might be able to get your hands on a Gigabyte or a Zeus or MSI card when they are first being pushed out, or they're sort of not released yet?
No official dates. Isn't it? It's a few weeks.
Yeah, it's normally about a month after. So probably just when you're looking at the 3070s are being released, initial releases, you'll probably be seeing sort of the 2080s and 2090s becoming on the shelves. But yeah,
I can't wait for the overclocked version.
I'm keen for one of my mates to get one and sort of do some benchmarks and push it to its limits and sort of see those ridiculous numbers come out. But do you think what generation do you think you have to be at to make it worth upgrading now? Like, is it 20 series should be upgrading because it's such an increase in performance, or do you think you're waiting for the sort of 10 series, or is it even lower than that?
I mean, God, I don't think anyone really needs 3090. No one really needs it. If you're going for a 3090, you're very rich and you want it. But I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? I would just say maybe 10 series or less. You're thinking about upgrading to this? That wouldn't be a bad move.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a hell of a lot of sort of 20 series cards on the second-hand market at the moment, especially in the last few days. I've seen a lot popping up. So, I mean, look, if you
get some deals.
Yeah, if you don't need a 30 series and you're sort of on a sort of a 9 series or 10 series, definitely looking at the second-hand market, I would suggest, because they're going pretty cheap. People are trying to sort of flog them off before these are fully released. But I was a bit surprised that they were this cheap. They're not a lot cheaper. They're cheaper than the 20 series were last year. Do you think that's just because it's the sort of second generation of the RTX, or is there sort of some other factors that have played into it?
I mean, they must be trying to compete with AMD. AMD has been beating them on, price to performance massively for a while. Recently, last year or two. They must be, at this point going, well, we have to bring the prices down a little bit. It needs to be a viable choice in comparison,
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll have to keep a bit of an eye on those, and might bring you some more updates of real-world specs. Because they did some benchmarks on stage, but they're built for these cards, and they looked amazing and they performed amazingly. But not sure it's a real fair example. But you might have to be upgrading some of your power supplies the same time you update your GPU. But it'll be interesting seeing sort of maybe even non-consumer, maybe some sort of more business applications for these, and how they're sort of used for solving some problems. But talking about the future of tech, I want to have a bit of a chat the Surface Duo was announced a little while ago, but was sort of fully released recently, at least for sort of YouTubers have been putting out some content lately, as well as the Samsung Z Flip 2. And I want to get some of your opinions on the foldable territory of phones, and so I guess what I'm asking is, the Z Flip 2 uses a foldable piece of glass and folds the actual screen and makes it act like one big screen, whereas the Surface Duo takes a different approach where it's two pieces of glass and they focus more on multitasking. Which one do you think has it right? And do you think the Surface Duo will become a one-sided glass eventually, or do you think they'll stick with the two? What do you reckon?
I think the biggest thing for me is that, because what? It's not really glass, is it, on those phones? It's sort of plasticky. Or am I getting this mixed up? Because I remember the first Samsung flip phone was, the big problem with that was that it was a very, very plasticky screen cover. Some people were even pulling it off thinking it was a plastic cover that came with the packaging. But I don't know, if you're talking to me, I almost would say I'd prefer the two separate screens.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, some
Being
more
made
the
of
duo
glass.
technique.
Yeah.
What about you, Ben?
Which one would I prefer?
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely the Samsung Z, the flip phone. Yeah, it's just opening up that screen to just no seams, like a nice big beautiful screen. You just can't beat that. Even if there's a few sacrifices in the way, it's just something you can't compete with.
Yeah, I think they're hitting different markets as well, because the Microsoft, like they always have with the sort of business applications and the sort of two-in-ones, they're sort of hitting the more people who are going to be out there need to be doing a lot of work and typing and sort of more of this business idea, whereas the Samsung is more hitting the real nerdy tech people and people who are just into the cutting edge of tech. But it's interesting they've taken such different approaches at this foldable world. And I think the other big thing that got me was the cameras, because the Samsung Z Flip 2, it's sort of not peppered with cameras, but it's got its three main cameras on the back for shooting. Then it's got a camera on the front display, and then for selfies, and then a camera on the inside display for selfies. So it really is trying to replace your iPhone in terms of or your Samsung Galaxy S, sort of really trying to give you every feature plus this foldable display. Whereas the Duo, it uses a technique where it folds all the way round, and then you use just the selfie camera as the front-facing camera. So, I mean, you would think that the images would be terrible, wouldn't they, on that?
Well, what? They're using a full-size camera on the Duo, right? The Surface. I feel like it's almost a bit inefficient what Samsung's done. They've really gone for you can use this however you want. You want to open it up, go for it, mate. You want to close it, you want to just use the front screen, sure, no problem. Our phone can do it. It doesn't matter how you want to use it.
Yeah, so you reckon they're trying to hit too many
five
markets?
cameras? 5 cameras? That's a lot. It's almost like, I don't know, how much does that cost?
That's
to be able
the other
to put
thing.
in 5 separate cameras.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's
very expensive.
If they pulled down if they started pulling things out of it that you kind of don't need, do you really need a selfie on the inside as well as the front? Do you really, or vice versa? Do you really need one on the front as well as the inside?
Just like, it's possible. It is possible to use. Like one set of cameras with a foldable phone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that like the Samsung looks amazing, right?
Yeah.
Very clean product, and they've got a fantastic hinge on it. The materials used on it are beautiful, but I don't know. It's what's the word? Almost a gluttonous phone. They've just shoved everything they possibly can into it. Everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They could probably get a more efficient design than that. They could
Well, I'm amazed how thin the Duo
feels like
is.
there's advancement to be done.
Yeah, so I mean
Yeah.
the Microsoft Duo, if you have like a USB port in your house anyway, have a look at it. It's about the thickness of the metal of the USB port. It's pretty much each side, so when it folds together, but it is so thin, and it kind of has that feeling of the future without doing the folding glass. I mean, it is using some older specs on the inside, and I think, all the YouTubers aren't allowed to turn it on screen yet. All the embargoes are holding them back from that. But it'll be interesting when they get to turn it on. It might be a little bit sluggish this first generation, but that's sometimes the first generation of products. Because it's taken them over a year to develop it. They sort of have this year-old old chips inside. But we were talking last week about how the Samsung Note can connect to Windows, and when we were discussing if we think the Windows Phone is dead, and it's interesting that they're using Android on the Duo, but I wonder if they're sort of saying, yeah, we've finished with our own software, and this again is another proof of them doing that. But we're finished with our own software. We're not trying to build a Windows Phone, but we haven't finished with the hardware. We're still got there's still things to come in terms of the hardware space.
Yeah, I feel like Microsoft is looking at Apple and going, God, why didn't we do that?
Yeah,
Right?
what do you mean?
Apple has got their own OS, their own phones, their own computers,
Mm.
and Microsoft forever was just software.
Yeah, I think they kind
Very
of missed the
popular
boat a
software,
little
very
bit
popular, but yeah,
on
they
the
just
hardware.
they were missing this whole like part of the market,
Mm.
and now they get it.
Yeah, now they're trying
And-
to play catch up.
Yeah, because for a while I would say that the Surface tablets were not amazing. They weren't amazing for a long time, but they're getting really good. At least the most recent Surface Books.
Yeah. Oh, look, the Surfaces are amazing, and
Yeah.
and I do like it how the Duo so it has a fingerprint scanner on the side, and the little notch where the fingerprint scanner is almost looks like the little notch on a laptop where you open it up to put your finger on. I think that's very cute.
Yeah.
And it sort of just adds to this whole not sort of 2-in-1 idea that Microsoft loves. And kind of looking at their lineup now, it's interesting that you can go from a foldable essentially phone in your pocket, and then a 2-in-1 tablet and laptop, and then a movable Surface desktop, and then sort of a panel on the wall that can rotate and be a almost billboard. So it kind of they really love their 2-in-1s, sort of this mixed mesh of devices that you never quite know what it is, but my God, you can do a hell of a lot with it.
Aesthetic. It's the Surface aesthetic.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got it. You can do whatever you
You can.
want.
It really opens up a whole nother world for your devices.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's a bit unfair to compare it to the Samsung.
Yeah.
Because this is the concept phone, right? This is the first concept, and the Samsung is really they've had a year. A year to has it been a year?
Well, it's been over a year since.
Over a year
you know,
since the original flip.
Yeah, for
Well, yeah,
development as well.
they've had a long
You know,
time
they've had
to
ages.
really shape it up and make it look good.
Yeah, and because they also had the Samsung Fold, the first one that folded in the middle, and then they had the Z Fold that folded more like a clamshell flip phone. So they've this is sort of the second generation of the sort of unfold like a book style, but it's sort of their third go at doing folding technology, and it's chunky. It's really thick. It's really it's squared off, and it's a completely different sort of design to the Duo. And you know, we must preface that these aren't the only two folding phones out there, but these are sort of the ones in the media at the moment. But yeah, I just think the Duo just looks so clean, and you know, if you got it in, it's sort of just a grey or whitish grey at the moment, and if they had a black and sort of maybe a red or, you know, some different colours you can look at, it would just, you know, if someone pulled that out of their pocket, I mean, I guess with both of them, if someone pulled it out of their pocket at the moment, you'd just go, oh wow, what is that kind of thing. But
this is what I'd imagine a businessman would be walking around. This is like this is like BlackBerry.
Well, yeah, yeah.
I almost see it
absolutely.
as a very professional.
Yeah,
Not over the top. It's nothing loud.
yeah.
Very clean, very thin.
It's a gorgeous
nice
device.
aluminium.
I'm very keen to see to see the first one out in the wild. I think that'll be an exciting day to sort of see what someone's slide it out, fold it open, check an email, fold it back up. But the nice thing I think that these two have done better than the first generation of folding phones, like the first Samsung, is they have a hinge now that sort of holds at any angle, and you know, goes all the way from flat to sort of closed, and can just hold itself there, more like a laptop hinge, and they've sort of built in software into it that when you have it half open, instead of laying flat, it'll bring the keyboard down to the bottom, or push the YouTube screen up to the top, which I think is very cool, and sort of steering into that skid, and it's not just open or closed. It's more of this sort of, like you were saying before, this multi-purpose, use it in any way you want, and we'll provide the software to it.
It's like they're taking a leap over you've got a tablet in your pocket all the way to you have a laptop.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, no, definitely. They're sort of... Yeah, I wonder when laptops will be threatened, because I think definitely tablets are being threatened at the moment by folding phones. But I wonder when laptops will be threatened, and people start questioning if they just carry a Surface Duo in their pocket and no Surface Pro on their back. But I heard a very interesting thing by Marques Brownlee, MKBHD, on his podcast Waveform, that were talking about pairing it with a Samsung watch, or you know, one of those other Android watches, and that could really change the Duo experience, especially the Duo, more than the Z Flip, because you have to unfold it to look at it. And you'd be able to, you know, if you're on the train, you just check notifications, and if you knew there was a call coming in, then you could pull out of your pocket, and sort of more of that, even more blurring it. So it's like, it's not really a phone anymore. You don't pull it out to check everything, so you're checking your watch. But yeah, sort of pairing even more. But I think one thing as well that is a big difference between them, with the dual screens versus one screen that unfolds, is that I feel like the Duo is much more about multitasking. Like, even though Samsung has the big screen, they still sort of seem like it's just a bigger version of any app you're currently in. They have the multitasking and even multiple screens, more than just two, sort of three or even four, but I feel like the separation of those screens makes a big difference in your multitasking, you know, day-to-day multitasking, which it is interesting, but I don't know. I think we'll have to see where they take it and which one ends up sort of being the leader, or possibly both. Possibly both end up sort of in the front. But that's very interesting. But yeah, we'll leave some links to.
Very exciting.
Yeah, to some possibly some videos of some maybe of MKBHD's videos of those two devices, so you can sort of have a bit more of a look and sort of his first impressions of those two. But yeah, we might do another update of how powerful those graphics cards are in the future. But it's a
Hopefully maybe a personal testing.
oh, that'd be exciting, wouldn't it? That would be very exciting.
If anyone wants to donate,
yeah, look, we might put a
3090
a GoFundMe
you know,
up for
DM us.
Yeah, for this channel, for this podcast. All right, boys, it was good to talk to you this week, and we'll have to keep an eye on the world of tech and get another podcast out next week. But yeah, good to talk to you, boys.
All right, see you guys next
Talk to you guys next week. Bye.